Hey, what is going on guys, this is Tharshey and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have a basic guide to formations in Lord of the Rings Rise to War. So if you guys do enjoy this video, please do drop a like, comment and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on those post notifications. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so I'm going to be giving you guys tips and tricks to make good formations. As I said, this is a basic guide to formations video. This is not going to be one of those videos where I give you a tier list of every single commander and then put them all into formations together and say this is the best formation, this is second best, all of that. No, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just going to be giving you guys tips and tricks to help you make your own formations and, ensure that they're actually decent in PvP, PvE, etc. So if we go over to commanders, there's a few things we need to take into consideration when making a formation. One is it's going to take 4 commanders, obviously. So what 4 commanders should you pick to ensure your formation is good or great even? Well, the first thing to take into consideration is the rarity of the commander. So before, you could pretty much use mighty commanders or blue commanders and they could do pretty great even against legendary commanders. However, nowadays, it's kind of gotten to the point where mighty commanders are just not that good anymore. Even though I say that, I still do use Eowyn because I just had so many respect levels in her that she's basically a top level epic commander now in 2.0. So she's actually still pretty decent. However, you can use even like before, right? In 1.0, you wouldn't use any commander, even if they're legendary, if they're under respect level 5, because they just wouldn't, do well enough. However, in 2.0, it kind of seems that using legendary commanders, even if they're only like respect level 3 or something, can actually still be a viable pick. So you may want to take that into consideration, okay? Now, let's talk about what are some general rules that you can follow, right, to ensure your formations are decent. So number 1 is try to follow the same unit type in all your formations. What I mean by this is make sure your formations have all medium units, all big units, or all small units, okay? Because if you do that, your formation will get a bonus. So if you have all medium units, they may get like a attack bonus. If you have all medium units, they may get a defense bonus. If you have all large units, they may get a speed bonus or something. I did do another video where I actually talked about the exact bonuses, so you guys can go check that out if you want to know the exact bonuses. But for now, for this video, all you need to know is you need to have the same unit type in every commander in that formation, okay? So all your commanders must have either all small units, all medium units, or all large units. Now, the next thing to take into consideration, and this is also pretty important, is you need to, well, you don't need to, but it's being advised to use commanders that can use the same race of units, okay? And what I mean by that is you want to use all elvish commanders together. Like, I don't personally do this, right? So this is kind of against what I personally run, if you guys have seen my other videos. But a general rule of thumb is running all elvish commanders seems to be going pretty well. Running all dwarvish commanders seems to be going pretty well. Running all human commanders seems to be going pretty well. Okay, obviously I'm talking about good side. I assume these all apply to evil side as well, though I don't play evil, so I can't tell you that for sure. So yeah, that is going to be the second tip. Try to ensure the same race between all your commanders and units. So try use all elvish commanders or all men commanders or all dwarvish commanders and try to ensure they're all running the same units, so all elvish units, and make sure all those units obviously are the same size, so small, medium, and large. Make sure you're running all small units, all medium, or all large units, and they're all elvish, dwarvish, or manish units. Now, I say all this, and I run a mixed group, and I found it also works pretty well, because you can also take into account the type of damage the commander does. So obviously you have damage commanders, which do where the commander does all the damage, and then you have army buff commanders, that I like to call them, where the army is actually doing all the damage and the commanders are just using skills to buff the army. And I found that when I mixed the two, it actually is performing okay, right? Because my main formation at the moment is this: Gimli, damage commander; Galadriel, damage commander; Aragorn damage commander, and Gandalf the Grey, which is an army buff commander. And that's been my number one formation so far, and they're actually doing pretty decent. However, rule of thumb for all you guys that are trying to put together your formations is try to have all damage commanders together or all army buff commanders together, right? It's just going to make it simpler for you. That being said, I've seen a lot of people having like one army buff commander along with 2 damage commanders or 3 damage commanders, and it seems to be working pretty great. So you guys can are more than willing to do that as well. You know, that's all right. Another thing you can do is run. So remember when I told you you should run all small units, medium units, or large units? Obviously, Cav is a big one, right, for good sides. So you obviously have literally your holy trinity of cavalry commanders from Rohan. You have Theoden King, you have Eowyn, and you have Eomer. And then you also have Imrahil, right, Prince of Dol Amroth, who is also a really great Cav commander. And running all 4 of these together seems to be going pretty well, right, because all their skills synergize amazingly. Like, look at him. Theoden has mounted units damage, mounted units damage, mounted units damage, right? Eowyn has mounted units heal. This is just some physical command damage. And then melee units, 3 allied formations, have gain defense, which is fine because all your cav is going to be melee. Imrahil has some mounted units damage, mounted units heal, and then some defense for his own formation. And if you go over to Eomer, Eomer has mounted units damage, mounted units receive less damage, and then just some physical damage. But all their skills work really well, and it applies to multiple commanders in the formation. So you can run a formation like that, right? So let's go over some example formations. Now, do not, run these formations and tell me, no, I am losing or stuff, because, gear and skills also play a part of it. But this is just a rule of thumb thing to do, okay? So taking into everything I said, and let's just count that off, right? Number 1, try to ensure the size of your units are all the same, aka small, medium, or large units. Number 2, try to ensure the race of your commanders / units are all the same, aka all elvish commanders, all dwarvish commanders, all manish commanders. Number 3, try to ensure the type of damage being dealt, is the same. So run all damage commanders together, run all unit buff commanders together, or you can mix them as well. I run mixed and I have had good results with it. But, if you don't want to do that, you don't need to. It's up to you, okay? So some examples for what could be a really good formation, right? So for an elvish formation, you could do something like running Galadriel, right? You run her with Elrond. So do I even have Elrond? I do. You can run her with Elrond. You could run her with, who else do I have? Okay, you see, I don't have all these other commanders, but if you have all the legendary commanders, you could run her with someone like the King Thranduil. You could run her with Thranduil, and then you could maybe put in like Arwen or Legolas as well. So that is something you could do. Though obviously, if you don't have all, a lot of legendary, like I don't have a lot of legendary commanders, right? And the ones I do have, they're all R0, so they're not really the greatest. So I choose to instead run my Galadriel in a damage formation. Even though it's mixed race, that's all right. I run Galadriel, I run Gimli, so that's elf, dwarf. I run Aragorn, which is man, and I run Gandalf, which is man and army buff. So I run 3 damage commanders, all of different races, and I run 1 army buff commander, and it works out pretty great. My second formation that I personally run is a all cavalry formation. So this is all men, right? So 4 manish commanders, and also all the units are cavalry. So it's the same unit size across all my commanders in this formation. So I run Theoden, I run Eowyn, I run Eomer, and I run Imrahil. Now, if I wanted to run a all manish formation instead of an all cav formation, right, I could do something like run Gimli, Aragorn, Theoden maybe, and Eowyn or Eomer, or I could run Gimli, Aragorn, Gandalf with Theoden, right? The only thing is, mixing these commanders together now, Theoden is obviously a cav commander, right? The other 3 don't really require, to run all cav, to run all small units. So what I would do then is I would run cavalry on the other 3 so that my entire formation is running cavalry. I would just, run some cataphracts on my Gimli and my Aragorn, and then I would probably run. Oh, I actually can't run Bow Knights. I would just have to run some Cavaliers instead on Gun of the Grey. But you see, yeah, so that's kind of a tough formation to sell though, because you know you're trying to run a Cav commander in a normal formation that would normally be running small units. So that's just, you know, something to take into consideration. Anyway, let me recap everything again, right? Because we have been talking a lot, we have been rambling on a lot, and we have been going around here and there, jumping back and forth. Okay, so some basic tricks and some basic tips to take into account when you are making up your formations. First thing is choose one main formation first. Okay, get those commanders set up, you know, pick the 4 commanders you want to run, gear them up nicely, and then only move on to trying to set up a second formation. Don't try start with 2 formations at the start, okay? First, get 1 formation properly set up before moving on to number 2, okay? Next up, when setting up your formations, try to ensure that you're running the same race between all your commanders. And if not, that's okay, okay? But I'm just giving you this as a small piece of advice just to make it a little bit easier if you are having trouble trying to mix and match commanders. More importantly though, and this is something you should definitely follow, is make sure you have the same unit sizes on all your commanders in the formation. So run all small, all medium, or all large. Do not mix small, medium, and large units together because you're not going to get the buffs from having all of the same unit size, okay? Next, you're going to want to try to make sure you run units that are suitable for those commanders, and you run commanders that are suitable for those units together. So don't try to mix, you know, like don't try to mix Gimli and Aragorn with a half Cav formation because it's going to be much harder to make them work, okay? Instead, run commanders that have synergy like Eowyn, Eomer, Theoden, and Imrahil. They have great cavalry synergy, run them together. You can run damage commanders because all damage commanders, pretty much all their skills are just pure damage, so there's no need for synergy. And all of them are going to be running tanky units as well, which are all usually your small units. So you can run all Guardians, Tower Guards, Dunedain, something like that. So you're going to be running small units anyway, so you can mix and match all your damage commanders together, and you're not going to have much of an issue. Which is why I run Galadriel, Gimli, Aragorn, and Gandalf the Grey. You can obviously also go for a all same race formation, so you could go all elves, you know, try maybe get some Haldir with some Arwen, you know, with some Galadriel, so you have some army damage, you have some army buff and support commanders as well. Or try go for all dwarves, you know. The really good formation that I've heard been thrown around is running Dane Ironfoot, running Gimli, maybe running Thorin and Felgen. You know, you have a lot of dwarf commanders to choose from, so you can mix and match what you want. Anyway, if this video did help you out, please do drop a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on those post notifications. If you have any questions in terms of formations or in terms of any of the tips or tricks that I mentioned, then let me know down below in the comment section, and I promise I will answer you as soon as I can. You know, try to help you get those formations sorted out. I will leave timestamps as well to ensure you guys know kind of which, you know, around which part of the video I'm talking about a different tip or whatever. It's all also kind of mixed together, but hopefully that will help you out. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.